What's up, everybody? Ryan Thomas live on the Thomas Take Sports Podcast YouTube channel. I've kind of hopped in and out today. It's a pretty nice day. I went to the gym today, got a good workout in, feel really good. And I'm getting home and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to obviously, take a shower, get dressed, hop back on here, and let's talk some Buffalo Bills football. Why not? So outside of the fact that I just got my confirmation on my order for my Josh Allen Buffalo Bills jersey, a home jersey, as well as my confirmation for my Josh Allen Wyoming t-shirt, I'm very excited to say that in the midst of me thinking about this past year's draft, last week's draft, the 26th, a few days back now we're on May 2nd, 5 days ago, the draft. Seems like it was just yesterday. I've thought a lot of different things. I went to the post-draft show. I took to that show, really wanted to go player for player, round for round, pick for pick, and give my take on the picks of the Buffalo Bills. In the midst of that hour and 30-minute long video, it was an hour long, not an hour and 30, it was an hour. I didn't talk about one thing that I wanted to talk about, and that was Brandon Beane. Brandon Beane, the current Buffalo Bills general manager, I don't feel as if Bills fans quite understand what he just did. And I want to really open the eyes of all of the Bills Mafia, all of the Buffalo Bills fans, to what just happened. Brandon Beane took a massive chance in this draft. And he didn't do it just once. He did it once, and he did it twice. And obviously I'm looking at, the first and second pick that the Bills made, which the first one was obviously Josh Allen. The second one was Tremaine Edmonds, which both picks have been lauded and praised by certain aspects of the NFL media and not really looked at in high regard by others, which is expected in this business. Josh Allen's a guy that has been the most polarizing prospect in this quarterback class. They didn't know whether or not, is he a project? Can he start right away? He's got accuracy issues. He's got footwork issues. Which team is going to take that chance? And if you would have told me, despite the fact that I laid it out quite often, that Buffalo was the perfect fit for Josh Allen, if you would have told me that Brandon Beane would actually take that chance, I would have said, really, we'll see. I would have said, we'll see. He didn't just take that chance. He doubled down on Josh Allen by trading 2 second-round picks to take him. And most people, not me, but most people, believe that to be a steep price. Knowing what I know, that the Bills picked 12th overall in this draft in the first round. Their first pick was the 12th overall pick. They talked specifically with the Denver Broncos about trading from 12 to 5. And in doing so, Buffalo would have to give up the second first-round pick that they had in this year's draft. Brandon Beane did not want to do that, but he wanted to get as high as he possibly could to get his guy in Josh Allen. What changed the reality of that trade is the fact that Denver said, well, we're going to agree to this trade, but we're only going to agree to it given the circumstances. We're only going to agree to it if Chubb is not there, which in every mock draft scenario that the Denver Broncos laid out for themselves, Bradley Chubb was selected. He was the apple of their eye. He was the player that they wanted. They put out every mock draft scenario amongst their pro personnel, amongst their GMs, amongst their scouts. And they thought Bradley Chubb would get picked. Luckily for Denver, he was not. And luckily for Buffalo, he was not. Because Buffalo went to Indy. Indy said, well, much similar to Denver, we want Quentin Nelson. He's our number one player on our board. We're not going to take anybody else if he's available. Quentin Nelson was available. They take Quentin Nelson, which allows Buffalo to trade from 12 to 7 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and not give up a first-round pick and still have this first-round pick to select a player at 22. Buffalo then takes that first-round pick after waiting a few picks. As a few picks pass by, they make a trade with the Baltimore Ravens to move down 2 rounds, to move up 5 spots, to take the consensus 1B to Roquan Smith's 1A, or Edmonds 1A to Roquan Smith's 1B linebacker in this class, Tremaine Edmonds. You just netted yourself 1 cornerstone, hopefully, on the offensive side of the ball, and 1 cornerstone, hopefully, on the defensive side of the ball. The play caller on both sides of the ball, presumably if Edmonds plays Mike, plays the middle linebacker spot. And all the while, you did give up something. You did give up 2 second-round picks. You did move down 2 rounds to net yourself an extra 5th. But you drafted one of the better players, one of the better value picks of the 3rd round in Harrison Phillips. You took a corner/safety that you desperately needed, as we need as much depth as we can possibly get. And in his first draft as a general manager, Brandon Beane took more chances, took more risks than I certainly would have, or someone new to the job. Granted, he hasn't even been here a full calendar year yet. And Brandon Beane, in his first draft as the Buffalo Bills GM, said, I want this guy, I want this guy, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get them. That was his mindset going into the draft. That was his mindset once the draft was over, because Buffalo is not done yet. Buffalo is looking at adding another wide receiver, maybe possibly 2. Names that I've heard: Eric Decker, Jeremy Maclin, Des Bryant. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen. But to say the least, Brandon Beane has proved to me that he has a little bit of an edge to him. This guy does not like to play it safe. This guy likes to make the big move. This guy likes to make the big move when necessary and pull the trigger on a player that he desperately wants, that he truly believes will make this football team better. I like it. I'm all for it. I'm all in on this Buffalo Bills regime. I cannot remember a moment in my lifetime during the 26 years that I've been alive where the Buffalo Bills have a regime that I can respect, that its fans can respect, and that the league can respect. That goes a long way in the image of the city, of the community, and of the team, from impending free agents to drafted players. There is a system being built. There is a culture being built. And that was talked about so often during the playoff drought. Well, we have to establish a culture. Sean McDermott came in and he said, this is the message that I want to preach. I'm sticking to it this entire time, and our players will respond to it. And that is what we have seen here in year 1 and heading into year 2. So one thing I realized throughout this whole process is that Brandon Beane has serious spunk, cojones, B-A-L, he's got it. And that excites me, because moving into next year's draft, a draft in which you do have talent in certain positions, might not be as deep of a draft as this year's draft, but you do have talent in certain positions, and Buffalo still has a first and still has their second, still has all their picks. They hold more picks than any other team in the NFL in next year's draft. I'm all for that. So how could any Buffalo Bills fan right now feel upset? I know I don't. Everybody, I'm Ryan Thomas. You're tuning in to the Thomas Take Sports Podcast. I'll be right back with my thoughts on the Buffalo Sabres winning the NHL Draft Lottery. Take care, everybody.